Thank you for waiting. Thank you for your presence today. I begin by acknowledging traditional owners of the land that we gather today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all here and online. We are privileged to welcome a number of distinguished guests, including Ms. Jan Adams, Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and New South Wales Premier Chris Minns. On behalf of our entire team, I would like to thank everyone from the New South Wales Government and Investment New South Wales for all their help in the run-up to this event. Furthermore, I would like to thank the Australia-Japan Business Cooperation Committee and the Japan-Australia Business Cooperation Committee for their invaluable support. I would like to express our gratitude to Ashurst, Asahi Group Holdings, and Industrial Growth Platform, Inc. for sponsoring this event. I would also like to thank the panelists for sharing their valuable insights with us today. My name is KAORI Takahashi. I will be your host for today's event. I am a senior producer at Nikkei, and it is my pleasure to guide you through this forum. In October last year, I attended the 60th Japan-Australia Joint Business Conference in Melbourne and witnessed a record 600 plus delegates developing the Australia-Japan relationship. Over the years, Nikkei has been grateful to you for hosting successive Nikkei bureau chiefs in Sydney, including myself. Last year, we launched a global conference called the Nikkei Forum. In expanding overseas, a number of potential locations have been mentioned. We have decided to make Australia our first destination. The decision was not based on alphabetical order, but the strategic importance of Australia to Japan and to the Nikkei. We hope that everyone will take the opportunity to interact and enjoy the discussions as a prelude to the 61st Joint Business Conference in Nagoya next month. With that, I am pleased to say, officially opened the Nikkei Forum Sydney 2024. I would like to invite Mr. Daisuke Arakawa, Managing Director of Nikkei. Mr. Arakawa, please take the stage.
Thank you, KAORI-san. Thank you for all for coming to this Nikkei Forum on how a changing landscape impacts on the future of the Japanese-Australian business alliance. Nikkei established its Sydney bureau 55 years ago in 1969, 12 years after the signing of the Australia-Japan Commerce Agreements. That marked a new beginning for the relationship between our two countries. Since then, Nikkei has been witness to history, reporting on the progress of our two nations from here in Australia. An economic relationship that began with trade in energy and resources expanded to include finance, food, housing, and retail, along with increasing direct investment. Our alliance is also growing stronger in the area of security and defense. The fact that today our two countries have what we call a special strategic relationship is thanks to the efforts of all of you who are here today representing business world. But this is not to say that our relationship has peaked. I believe there can be yet another dimension to our cooperation. How can we go beyond bilateral relations to contribute to the stability and prosperity of the broader Asia-Pacific region? how should we approach the global issue of decarbonization? In the face of increasing polarization of views the world over, what is our role as countries that uphold the value of democracy? Today, I look forward to lively, forward-looking discussions on these topics and more. Nikkei's aim as a global media organization is to evolve, although we may not be able to keep pace with the relationship between Japan and Australia. With the support of the Financial Times, which we acquired in 2015, we will continue to deliver reporting that is accurate and independent, not least through our English language offering, Nikkei Asia. Yesterday, I climbed to the top of the harbor bridge. It was one of the best weekend activities I have ever had. I enjoyed so much. I hope you can enjoy the climb and also this conference with best quality speakers and audiences and sponsors. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your remarks, Mr. Arakawa-san. Next, we will hear from Mr. Michiaki Hirose, Chairman of the JABCC and Senior Corporate Advisor at Tokyo Gas. Mr. Hirose, please take the stage.
ご紹介いただきました広瀬でございます。日豪経済委員会を代表し、一言ご挨拶を申し上げます。
Thank you for your introduction. I'm Hirose. On behalf of the Japan-Australia Business Cooperation Committee, I would like to say a few words.
まずは本日この日経のフォーラムがこのように大勢の皆様のご出席を得て、成功裏に開催されますことを心からお祝いを申し上げます。またコロナの空白期間を経て9年ぶりに開催ということで、改めて日経新聞をはじめ関係者の皆様に深甚なる敬意を表する次第でございます。
First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Nikkei for hosting such a grand forum and having so many people. After a long blank period caused by some factors such as COVID-19, this is the first event in 9 years. I would like to show my deepest respect to Nikkei and everyone involved.
先ほど高橋さんからもご紹介ありましたけれども、昨年の10月にメルボルンで第60回の記念日豪経済会議が開催され、両国合わせて728名の参加を得て開催されました。60回というと日本ではですね、還暦といって暦が一回りをして新しい時代が始まる、新しいことが始まる、大変おめでたいというふうに言われております。
As Takahashi-san earlier mentioned, we had the memorable 60th Australia-Japan Joint Business Conference last year in October in Melbourne, and we had a total of 728 people. In Japan, 60th anniversary is called Kanreki. That means the end of one life cycle and the commencement of another. Hence, it is considered to be a very happy occasion.
今ちょっと思い出したんですけど、確か今年の4月にですね、東京でメラニー・ブロックさんのお祝いがあったと思うんですけれども、今年から新しいメラニー・ブロックさんになってますから。
I just remembered this year in April, we had a big celebration for Melanie Block in Tokyo. So for her, it's going to be the new beginning too.
そういうことで、日豪経済会議も今年から新しい年になりますけれども、これもお話ありましたけど、10月に名古屋で、第61回の会議が開催される予定でございます。現在、両方の事務局で精力的に検討 調整をしているところでございます。
Also, it was already mentioned, but this year it's going to be a new beginning for a joint business conference too. And as such, we are hosting the 61st joint business conference in Nagoya in October. Currently, the secretariats of both countries are actively engaged in the planning and making arrangements.
今日のですね、この議論を参考に、最終的な詰めをして、できましたら今日のこの、会議でですね、名古屋に向けて、今回のこのカンファレンスは名古屋に向けての会議ですから、ぜひご提言でもいただければありがたいと思っています。
So we would like to use the discussions held today as a reference as we head into the home stretch. And in some cases, we would like to get some suggestions from you for Nagoya because this forum is positioned as an event that leads to Nagoya.
私はこれから日豪の関係を強化するために2つのことが必要だと思っておりまして、1つが情報、それからもう1つが人の交流だというふうに思っています。情報という面でいきますと、日本人のオーストラリアの情報っていうのはほとんどメディアから、それももう圧倒的に日経新聞から我々は情報を得ています。
I think there are two things which are important in terms of strengthening our relationship. One is information, the other is people-to-people exchanges. In terms of the information, Japanese people tend to obtain information on Australia mainly through media and predominantly through Nikkei.
シドニー今橋ということで、政治経済それからいろんな社会問題も含めて、日本人のオーストラリア感というのは今もう今橋さんが作っていると言っても過言ではありません。
I see a phrase, Sydney Imahashi, all the time, and it's not an overstatement to say that Ms. Imahashi created our view on Australia, covering many aspects of Australia, such as politics, economies, and social issues.
今橋さんの責任は非常に重大だと思います。
In other words, her responsibility is significantly large.
実は名古屋はですね、NHK の取材クルーが来まして、朝のニュースでシリーズで報道されておりました。おそらく名古屋はですね、日経新聞さんがメインプレスになると思いますし、ぜひオーストラリアの国内での報道も期待をしております。
Well, as a matter of fact, NHK sent its news crew from Nagoya to Australia to cover a series in its morning news. I believe in Nagoya, Nikkei will be the main Japanese press, but I would also like to look forward to the coverage from Australian media.
最後に人の交流という面ではですね、昨年オーストラリアから日本に60万人、逆に日本からオーストラリア30万人、非常にアンバランスな状態になっています。ぜひ両国の協力でですね、全体の人数をもちろん増やすんですけど、このアンバランスを解消したいというふうに思っています。
In terms of people-to-people exchanges, last year Japan welcomed 600,000 Australians, whereas Australia welcomed 300,000 Japanese people, which is quite imbalanced. I hope both countries work hand in hand and increase the total number and resolve this imbalanced situation.
最後になりますけれども、今回のこのカンファレンスが成功におりますように心からお祈りを申し上げ、簡単でございますけれどご挨拶に返させていただきます。
Lastly, I hope this conference will end in success, and I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hirose, for coming to Australia just for this occasion, and we do appreciate your presence here. Now, we are delighted to welcome Ms. John Adams, Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. As you all know, prior to her current role, Ms. Adams was Australia's ambassador to Japan. from November 2020 to June 2022. Prior to that, she served as ambassador to China for 3 years from 2016. Before that, Ms. Adams oversaw the negotiation of the TPP agreement and Australia's successful free trade agreement with 3 of its major trading partners, China, Japan, and Korea. I used to try very hard to get her comments and watch her face as she went in and come out from the meetings with the Japanese government to get an idea of how the negotiations were going. But she was a very tough negotiator and would not give journalists a clue until they had been successfully finalized. Today, she is smiling and happy to give us a short speech based on her distinguished career in trade, economics, and climate change policy. Ms. Adams, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We would be grateful if you could say a few words.
Kaoru-san, thank you very much for the very generous introduction. I'm really thrilled to be here this morning as a friend, really, of Australia-Japan relationship, and to just say a few introductory remarks. Firstly, I want to congratulate and thank Nikkei Shimbun for bringing the Nikkei Forum first to Sydney. It's a great honour. I think that Japan and Australia are so important to each other, perhaps have never been more important to each other in this changing landscape that is the theme of the forum. I also want to thank Nikkei for maintaining the Bureau in Sydney for this long time. Journalism is under pressure, but to have the Bureau here reporting Australian perspectives, I think is so important from Australian government point of view and Australian society point of view. I did notice in my time in Japan how thin the understanding or the exposure in public is of modern Australian issues, social, economic, strategic. And really, we do rely on you to generate a deeper understanding of the importance of this relationship beyond the kinds of senior leaders who often are in these kinds of rooms. I also love Nikkei Asia. It's one of my key media sources. Such professional evidence-based journalism, it's really important and very cleverly, not cleverly, very intelligently mixing strategic and economic affairs, which is, of course, our life now in Indo-Pacific. Second, I want to pay respect to JABCC and AJBCC. We have the two leaders here today. One, my former boss, Peter Gray, always nice to see you. I think the Australia-Japan business relationship is our most consequential from an Australian point of view. The associations are serious, have made a significant impact to growing the economic trade investment relationship over the decades. So we look forward to the Nagoya conference. The business leaders here and beyond have built this incredible trade and investment relationship. The trade, as you say, Kaoru-san, are underpinned by FTA, bilateral and TPP, CPTPP these days. And I think more importantly, the investment relationship really shows the high degree of trust that has been built over the years between our governments and our business sectors. From an Australian government point of view, Japan is well and truly a trusted investor. We appreciate very much the investment that's been made to date, and we count on you for continuing and increasing and ever diversifying the range of sectors in which Japan is an important investor in Australia. Thirdly, I'll just mention the bilateral relationship. As Arakawa-san has already mentioned, we had very successful 2+2 meeting in Queenscliff last week. I was privileged to participate. It was extremely successful. The 4 ministers, 2 foreign ministers, 2 defence ministers, get on very well. They covered an extraordinary agenda of strategic defence, regional, global, bilateral issues, economic as well. Took stock of the achievements that have been made even in the recent years. You can call it the Kishida term, where we have steadily increased integration on defence and security issues. We have very aligned strategic assessments, and we have shared views about the appropriate policy responses to that strategic environment. We are also, as has been mentioned, using our bilateral relationship regionally and multilaterally, but particularly regionally, adding to a strategic equilibrium in our region. A peaceful, stable, prosperous region is our objective, and we're increasingly working together in Southeast Asia and the Pacific in all different, in many different areas, even including things like internet cables in the Pacific region. One last point, which is Australia is very proud to be a participant in Osaka Expo next year. Hope to see many people there. Sponsorship opportunities are still available, but we're looking forward to that as another element in our ever-expanding relationship. I really do think it's true that Australia and Japan need each other more than ever across the economic, strategic spectrum. They're very interconnected, and we may have even more challenging times ahead. So good friends, good partners, special strategic partnership. I think it's very special, it's very strategic, and it's a great partnership. So thanks for including me here today. I look forward to the discussions. Thank you.